Those Ukrainian figures and/or media personalities propagating support for Azerbaijan are driven by the opportunistic mentality. Despite the fact that they assertively operate within the framework of value concepts in the context of Ukraine's essence and mission, rights and interests, out of sheer ignorance and/or selfish short-term goals, they play into the anti-civilization strategies of Turkey and Azerbaijan, and consequently Russia. Ukrainians who have historically played these games, and those who continue to do so, fail to understand or perhaps refuse to understand that the coordinated Russian-Turkish-Azerbaijani 44-day aggression against Armenia was the precursor for Russia's current aggression against Ukraine. These very people are indirectly responsible for enfranchising aggression against their own state. It is precisely this type of political myopia that is the main reason for and simultaneously the cost of a primitive understanding and employment of realpolitik. From an objective perspective, Turkey benefits from arming Ukraine with its Bayraktars, and it is not necessarily out of mutual gesture to want to spit in the face of the system of higher values, only to receive a spit from fate in return. When the elite's ethics rank below its practical capabilities, it periodically results in payment consequences for its people, and that payment is always rendered in blood. Just for reference, it is critical to note that Ukraine and Armenia, not Ukraine and Azerbaijan, both face the same issue of restoring their territorial integrity. The eastern borders of the Republic of Armenia with Azerbaijan were recognized by the decision of the League of Nations on February 24, 1920. The western borders of the Republic of Armenia were established by the arbitral award of U.S. President Woodrow Wilson on November 22, 1920, to be restored in the future. During the summer and fall of 1920, Armenia was occupied by Russia and Turkey and was divided between them. Part of the occupied territories, Artsakh, Gardmank, and Nakhchivan, were transferred to Soviet Azerbaijan on the basis of illegitimate documents signed by the two parties. The Moscow Treaty of March 16, 1921, the Treaty of Kars of October 13, 1921, and the decision of the Caucasian Bureau of July 5, 1921. After the collapse of the USSR, Armenia, as an occupied state, must and will restore its territorial integrity, which includes the liberation of Gardmank, Artsakh, and Nakhchivan, all temporarily under Azerbaijan's occupation. Undoubtedly, the main blame for the current occupation of Armenia lies with its people, since it was we who allowed the neo-colonization of Armenia shortly after the collapse of the USSR. Its seizure was carried out by the Russian agents and henchmen who forced the adoption of an anti-Armenian and anti-state political and legal notion that Armenia recognized itself as a successor of a non-existent state with no legally recognized identity of an administrative territorial unit of the USSR, the Armenian Soviet Socialist Republic. To this day, Armenia positions itself in this capacity where, in truth, it should have been and continues to be the legal successor of the Republic of Armenia of 1918 to 1920. In accordance with this unlawful and deceitful notion, the Artsakh problem, being a part of the Armenian question, within the modern framework of understanding and legal context, this being the issue of restoring territorial integrity of the Republic of Armenia in surmounting the grave consequences of the Armenian genocide of 1915 to 1923, has become an artificial problem of the post-Soviet dimension, the very dimension in which once again these concepts were artificially juxtaposed. On the one hand, it is the non-existent territorial integrity of the occupier Azerbaijan, while on the other hand, it is the fictitious right to self-determination of the people of the Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Oblast, formed on a partial territory of the whole Artsakh. More specifically, the Russian Empire's diabolical mechanism, created to undermine and revise the security architecture of the region, was set into motion on September 27, 2020, by the inducted war against Armenia. To conclude, 1. Ukraine and Armenia both have territories that are occupied, paralleling their basic interests of restoring their territorial integrity. 2. Russia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan are occupiers which must be held accountable, give back the occupied lands, and compensate for all damages caused. 3. Ukraine is not a superpower and simply cannot afford any double standards, which are just as costly to any superpower, though are more absorbable on account of naturally greater power margins. So it is in Ukraine's best interest to strictly adhere to values and law. Glory to Armenia, glory to Ukraine, and a bow of respect to the heroic people of Ukraine.